What's up, losers? Today I'm back with another r/fatlogic adventure. Taking a look at a couple of interesting fat acceptance posts, sharing my responses to them, and doing my best to extract some entertainment or humor from them. This is episode 140 in the fatlogic series. And I'm ready for some level-headed, sophisticated takes, so without further ado, let's get into it.
People who have worthless opinions. Republicans, bigots, formerly fat people, those who are all three. Hashtag worthy thoughts. Hashtag if you're a formerly fat person, I have absolutely no desire to listen to you. Hashtag especially if you talk about fatness. Hashtag a formerly fat person talking about fat phobia. Means sheet. Hashtag I don't give a damn what you have to say about how much it sucks to be fat and how glad you are to be thin. Hashtag your words are worthless. Hashtag fat phobia.
Wow, that's awfully harsh. Their words are worthless. You have no desire to listen to them. You don't give a damn what they have to say. I'm sensing a lot of hostility. I wonder where that might be coming from. I mean, all they've done is lose some weight. It's not like they've been stealing fries from you or something. You can still be fat and eat to your heart's content, if that's what you want. All they're doing is demonstrating that there is, in fact, another way. Surely there's nothing threatening about that, right? Well, as it turns out, no, because when you're a fat activist, the very fact that weight loss is possible is threatening to you. It might even be the greatest threat of all, because your entire ideology is predicated on the near-religious precept that fat people simply cannot control their weight through dieting. And if this laughable premise is in any way invalidated, the whole house of cards cannot but come tumbling down. So really, this post makes perfect sense. Of course the poster doesn't want to hear from formerly fat people. These people's very existence represents an existential threat to their way of life. And understandably, they'd rather just not think about it than be forced to constantly reflect on how their whole belief system makes no damn sense. In saying all of that though, this is still a profoundly childish way of dealing with ideas that make you uncomfortable. If you only ever worry about being proven wrong, and not about taking on board new information or perspectives, you can never truly grow as an individual. So to any fat activists who might be watching, I would strongly caution against this defensive stance. There's a lot to be learned from talking to formerly fat people. Don't stick your fingers in your ears and turn away. Have a conversation. You owe yourself that much. At least.
1. The human body is designed to not lose weight. Weight loss is linked with death. And so the human body, or any mammal really, has learned to associate limited food types and amounts, and often limited food thoughts, as a warning sign that the body is in trouble. So when people go on diets, and start cutting out food groups, or sugar, or eating smaller portions, the human body freaks out, and floods your brain with hunger chemicals, to try to get you to eat more. You're on Jenny Craig, but your body thinks you're stranded on a desert island, and will do everything it can to get you obsessed with food, and try to make you eat more. This is why dieting is so hard. It's not because fat people are spoiled, or have no self-control. They are literally fighting life-saving biological mechanisms to cut out foods and cut down portions. Society, of course, being very fat-phobic and pro-diet, will claim that fat people are just lazy, undisciplined, and weak. I tried valiantly for 20 years to lose weight, and I did, a significant amount of it. But then, I eventually lost the battle against my body's repeated attempts to make me eat, and regained it all. 2. Almost all studies on the comparative poor health of fat people does not allow for smoking, lack of movement, drinking, drug use, etc., nor does it allow for the crippling anxiety, cortisol dumps, and stress that most fat people go through while living in a society that literally tells them they are disgusting, hated, unattractive, lazy, and self-destructive, through all forms of media and social situations. Being fat can be very, very stressful. And if we allow that a workaholic CEO can die of a heart attack because of stress, Are we just gonna look the other way when stressed out fat people die more often? 3. You can be fat and healthy. You can be fat and healthy. There are fat athletes everywhere. Fat people practice yoga, run marathons, lift weights, have careers as trainers, aerobics instructors, and professional dancers. I have, and have always had, low blood pressure, and I am fat as frick. Which leads me to my fourth point. 4. Genetics plays a larger role than we think it does. Just ask all my thin friends with diabetes and heart disease that spend their free time riding bikes and hiking. If dad had heart disease, or mom had diabetes, there's a higher chance that you will too. 5. A person's health is their own damn business. I can work out, or not work out. I can eat salads, or live on ice cream. It's my body. I can do what I want with it. If our culture shamed and derided heavy drinkers, heavy pot smokers, people who exercised obsessively until they injured themselves, or people who kill themselves at their high-stress jobs, the way they constantly mock and deride and criticize fat people, we'd be healthier overall. 6. There are no diseases that only fat people have. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, cancer, diabetes, joint pain, knee pain. Thin people have all of these issues too. I could seriously go on about this all day, but I had to respond to some of the comments on this post. And even if you're right, even if a higher intake of fat and sugar and cholesterol, or what have you, makes you less healthy, cutting foods out will only mess up your metabolism, frick up your body, and give you disordered eating problems. The percentage of people who lost a significant amount of weight and kept it off for more than a decade. That is their life now. Exercise and dieting is a religion for them. Because unless you are intensely rigorous with what you eat and how much you move, your body will try to sabotage you. 95% of diets do not work long term, and most people who lose lots of weight gain it back plus more. I'm done now. TLDR, diets don't work. Fat people are not inherently unhealthy. Treat fat people with the respect and kindness you'd treat a thin person. Thank you.
Phew, that was quite a long one, wasn't it? It's certainly given us a lot to unpack, and there's a lot that could be said about its various points. But for me, the overwhelming impression that the post as a whole leaves one with is desperation. Scared, flailing, throwing stuff at the wall desperation, rather than facing up to the undeniable facts of obesity. Namely, that it is controllable, and deeply unhealthy. The poster is vomiting up any and all arguments that they can think of to try to distract from these facts, regardless of how unconvincing, illogical, or irrelevant they might be. And the overall result is just sad. Like, going on about how the body responds to restriction by making you feel hungry, does not in any way negate personal agency. Because it is still up to you whether you give in to the temptation to binge. All it really demonstrates is that weight loss can be difficult, which everyone already knows, and when the poster eventually gets around to their own experience of losing weight and putting it all back on, it becomes painfully obvious that this is just a vain attempt to shift the blame onto a mindless body that can't speak up in its own defense. Because the poster simply can't handle the thought of being held responsible for their own choices. And that's honestly pretty embarrassing. The arguments the post puts forward relating to health are similarly flimsy. Like sure, stress, alcoholism, smoking, a sedentary lifestyle, and unlucky genetic predispositions can all be damaging to one's health. But accounting for them does not displace the enormous medical risk factor that obesity represents. Neither does the fact that thin people can also experience the medical conditions that obesity contributes to. Because obesity is a risk factor for these conditions, not a prerequisite, and neither does the existence of fat athletes or fat aerobics instructors or whatever. Because none of these professions or activities guarantees immunity to the health consequences of obesity, regardless of the impressive physical feats that the individuals who partake in them might be capable of. And finally, on point 5, that a person's health is their business. I can agree, to a certain extent. It is ultimately up to you what you eat, and prying into someone's diet and lifestyle without invitation is rude. But when fat activists publicly broadcast misinformation, complain that society is oppressing them, and accuse doctors of incompetence or outright corruption, the rest of us are well within our rights to call this shit out. Oh yeah, and on the suggestion that society would be healthier if it shamed alcoholics, pot smokers, workaholics, and over-exercisers, all I can say is, what? How bizarre. Like, if you're anti-shaming, why would you want to see society shaming more people? That doesn't make any sense. And for what it's worth, society already does shame people for pot smoking and alcoholism, at the very least, so I really don't know where the poster was going with that. Just a strange point to make. So on the whole, I didn't find this post convincing in the slightest. And it saddens me that fat activists will go to such lengths to try to justify their own inaction to themselves. Like, I get that it's hard to lose weight for a lot of people. But is it really that hard to be just a little bit realistic? Sighs. I guess it must be. Moving on.
Drawing fat people is too hard. But man, does everyone somehow find a way as soon as they're drawing a character based on a pig, cow, whale, orc, ogre, other monster, or something negative like greed or capitalism. It's like the artists had it in them all along.
Whoa. What did pigs, cows, and whales do to be grouped up with orcs and ogres? They're all cool animals. They did nothing wrong, and as far as I'm concerned, this kind of slander is totally uncalled for. In fact, I think an apology is due, not just to all these lovely creatures whom you've insulted, but also to all the artists, who probably thought that they were paying a compliment to fat people by representing them like that, only to be rudely chastised. It's simply unacceptable. No, but seriously, I guess I can understand why fat activists might get mad at these artistic representations. But for the life of me, no matter how many times I see these same complaints trotted out, I just can't bring myself to care. Like, people are allowed to draw what they want. If you want a picture of a fat sexy werewolf or something, maybe you should draw it yourself. Does my indifference here make me a bad person? Perhaps. I wouldn't rule it out. But at the end of the day, frick it, I've got bigger things to spend my daily sympathy points on. The fat activists will have to fight this battle alone. So good luck with that, guys. Keep fighting that good fight. I'm sure you'll get there one day. Maybe. But anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you had a fun time looking over these posts with me, and that my commentary added something to the experience. What do you think? Are the opinions of formerly fat people worthless? Does weight loss require one to make diet and exercise a religion? Do we need more skinny pig, cow, whale, orc, and ogre characters? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll put you on Jenny Craig, and send you to a desert island. Just kidding, Anyway, catch you later.